nothing that he says is really true. And it really is about ray tracing with this guy. And he's upset that the PS5 Pro isn't giving him the sort of ray tracing he thinks that he deserves on a $700 console or something like that. And somehow magically the Xbox is doing a better job. But it's actually not, in Forza Motorsport specifically. He did used to defend Gran Turismo quite a bit, and he looks at himself as some sort of defender of, for Gran Turismo 7 in the past. But because the PS5 Pro isn't giving him perfect ray tracing, now he's turned against it. And he's looking at hood reflections when he's in a specific mode in this Forza game. And he believes it's all ray traced. But it isn't. It really isn't. And I've asked him to actually take a photo. A screenshot, really. Not a photo, but a screenshot while setting up the camera like I will do in Forza Horizon 5. But the whole point is he's upset about ray tracing noise. And we're looking at this right here, and I'm zooming in and everything, and you're seeing a really nice, shiny car on a standard model PS5, rendered in 4K, captured at 1080p, and a pretty high bitrate. This isn't like the super crazy lossless 141 gigabyte video file. That's later, right? That's gonna be like the super thorough examination, because that's a nearly lossless video file, which I can slow down and pan in and do all that stuff. But I didn't want to let this go to waste. And ultimately what you're seeing here is basically what you're going to be seeing in the other videos on this subject matter. The ray tracing that we see in Gran Turismo 5, 7, right? It's not perfect, but it's actually really good. It's actually probably some of the best ray tracing that we've seen in a console video game, bar none, that actually commercially released and isn't a mod or something like that. Now, you can argue maybe Minecraft modded on the Xbox Series X is actually doing, full-on path tracing and stuff like that. But this is, well, I guess it isn't 60 FPS, because what you're seeing here in the replay, it's exactly the same quality that you would be seeing on the PS5 Pro during gameplay. So what I'm showing here in the replay mode is the same quality ray tracing that you will see on the PS5 Pro during gameplay at 60 FPS. The cars get ray tracing and maybe some elements, but that's basically all that gets ray tracing. And it looks really good. It's pretty much artifact free and all that stuff, and maybe the argument here is that it's rendered at 4K or whatever. But the reality is the PS5 Pro, I think, is doing this at something, well, I don't know actually for replays, because I'm pretty sure the replays here, I'm zooming in on the 1080p video. This is like crazy amounts of zoom that we go to, up to 10x, maybe actually higher if I go through all my data here. It probably actually goes to more than 10x zoom at points. Let's see what it is actually right here. Yeah, we're at 4x zoom here. 4x. It's looking pretty damn clean to me, but some people are just not pleased, I guess. They're just unpleasable. So now we're going and inspecting the car, and this is still basically the same quality ray tracing that you'd get if you were just watching the replay, because I'm just setting up the camera before actually getting the camera widget, basically. But when you set it up for the camera widget for really actually taking a photo, everything gets ray tracing. So this is still just the car and some track elements that selectively get ray tracing. And you can see that the car does have a little bit of noise. And you can also see that the windows only get a cube map reflection. And that cube map reflection includes more trees and stuff like that. But it doesn't include grass or anything still. And the ray trace doesn't include the grass or the trees. Even the people and, the particle effects, stuff like that is all missing, But that's kind of par for the course for ray tracing, especially on a console. And this doesn't change when you go into photo mode, by the way. It stays exactly like this. If I take a photo like actually properly set up the system to take a photo and it renders it, it would still be that tiny little amount of trees, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else will show up there. But the cube map reflections are a completely different ballgame. And now we're going to show Forza Horizon 5. I don't have Forza Motorsport. I don't have a computer that's powerful enough for Forza Motorsport, to my knowledge. I think I need a newer GPU for the type of ray tracing that's done in Forza Motorsport. Sorry, it's all in Korean here, but that bottom option that I was at, that was the ray tracing option. The option that isn't set to full there is the cube map reflections. That's the car body reflections, and those are set to low, but they're not turned off. Well, I guess you can't really technically turn them off, but it's not set to the lowest setting as far as I can recall. I think there's like one lower setting. Anyway, now this car has a matte paint job. This is actually joescivic's model Civic, but it's in a different color because we don't have matte paints in Forza Horizon 5. Like, I've never really styled a car, so whatever. But I finally was like, you know what, I should try that. And I looked for matte paints, and they don't exist unless you go with like a, you know, this I think is like steel. But then we go into the hood view, and look at how shiny and reflective it is. Everything's there. I had to fix the, I inverted the camera controls, so I had to fix those. So now I can move the camera around, and what you're seeing is, yeah, this is a matte reflection, right? And the cube map reflection is really low quality. Again, that was my fault. I don't know why I set it up that way, but of course they are way better than this when you set it to the max setting, which I probably won't show here. But the ray tracing is completely turned on, and you can see it only affects the car, and it's one bounce, so we don't get the mirror reflection. You know, we get a cube map fallback in the mirror reflection. But we don't see it very well because I have the low cube map reflection set, but it is there. And what's really strange is that the ray tracing is kind of blocky. It is literally blocky. Now, I've noticed that this is the case in Forza Motorsport, the new one, based on some video that has been shown. I just want him to show that off and be honest. And also, the stuff in the ray trace isn't very complete either. That's just how it is. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Till next time.